Hey everybody, Superfluous Jay here with another Factorio for beginners. I hope you're enjoying the series, and I hope that my voice is a little bit louder now than it was over the last couple episodes. If it's not, I'll probably already know, but go ahead and give me a shout. We got a lot to cover today. We're going to start making belts to run things around the base. But first of all, I wanted to cover something that I totally neglected to mention in the last episode. Power poles don't have infinite reach. This power pole is not connected to these guys, as you can tell, because there's no wire running across. If you put a power pole down close enough to the other power poles, like I'm not even putting it down, if you just hover close enough to the other power poles, you'll see when you can put it down. And basically, the length you can put it is this length here, two, like a gap of two spaces in between where it will power. And that's every power pole has a different length, and I don't know what they are offhand, and it doesn't really matter because the game just tells you. Also, while I was running down here, you saw me put down the power poles, and it looked like I was possibly just placing them without, without, I don't even know what the word is, placing them without missing a beat. And that's because the game gives you the option here to click and drag. If you click, and then now I'm dragging this power pole around, notice it's not, I'm still holding down the button. It's not putting any more power poles down because it's connected to this guy. And then if I run over, it's just going to drop them automatically until I get here. This one doesn't drop automatically, sadly, because you have to manually connect two networks together. I separated these two networks from each other while I was showing you that. So that's a neat little trick. That works with a lot of things. It also works with underground pipes. The pipes here, if I had just clicked and drug this thing across, it would have, once it reached the limit, which is somewhere around here, it would have plopped the second one down as well. So it's very convenient. Anytime you have things that work together at a distance, well, I shouldn't say anytime. Almost anytime you have two things that work at a distance, you can do that. So at the very worst, try it and see what happens. That doesn't, however, work with ghosts. If you take a ghost, it'll drop the ghost down completely. So you have to do it with things that are actually there. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the shotgun shells, and the pistol. I mentioned that I hate the pistol. I didn't really talk about why, and I also never showed you anything with a shotgun. So I'm going to make a shotgun in this episode, and I'm gonna make some shotgun shells, and the next time we fight some biters, I'll bring that out. I'm not sure if it's going to happen in this episode or not, but when it does happen, we'll do it. So anyway, shotgun. As a rough way to explain it, the shotgun. Let's see. We also need iron plates. Looks like we're. And then shotgun shells need iron and copper, so they take more, and they're actually better weapons. They're better bullets. So I'm just gonna make a bunch. I don't generally use a shotgun very much, but I'll definitely, like I said, bring it out next time. Anyway, moving on. Let me put the pistol from my inventory down here as well. Might as well, and give it some bullets. There we go. Just so when the time comes, I remember. Okay, these guys have run out of iron, so I'm going to start another. I'm trying to run this sort of logically down the list here. I'm going to start another line here of iron smelting going on, just so things keep going. We also going to drop things in there and drop these guys in there so they run. Okay. Now for the actual episode. Let's go ahead and think here. We need to belt things up into this area so that we don't have to keep moving stuff manually, because that's lame. Also, I would like to belt coal up to the furnace up here so that when so I don't have to run coal up there as well. It's just something I would like to do, and I would like to introduce a very simple concept called the bus. And this is something that's gonna follow us through the entire game. But for now, we're just going to do something very simple to get things going. Okay, what we need here is we need to make belts. And belts are in logistics, and the transport belt costs us 1 iron plate and 1 iron gear wheel. So I'm going to put this guy here. I'm going to put one of these guys here. Note I don't have one, so I should probably build one. He takes iron and electronic circuits. So let's take some copper. Let's take some iron. And now I can make one of these guys, and I also want to make a long-handed inserter, and I'm going to cancel these. Because I don't want to be making shotgun shells all day long. So I'm going to make him, and then I'm also going to make a long-handed inserter, which you haven't seen yet. But the long-handed inserters, they reach 2 spaces, so they actually have a reach of 5, because they can go, or well, yeah, 5. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, depending on how you want to look at it. And then this guy will go into here, and then these guys together will start making. Looks like I need another one of these. We should probably automate these as well. And these take. Oh, I should probably show this. In your inventory, if you just hover over the crafting here, this is the crafting tool. It tells you what they need. It says it needs an iron plate and an iron gear wheel. That's why I knew to take the iron plates out of here and the iron gear wheels out of here to make this. You can also hover over it here. The other place you can do things is I want to make these guys. As you're picking things to go in the assembler, this also comes up and shows you what it needs. And this guy needs basically the same things these guys need, only he also needs electronic circuits. So now we have to make electronic circuits, and things are getting a little complex. So this is where the bus comes in. So I'm gonna set up a very simple bus here as we generate these things. And I should probably put a limit on this, although it really doesn't matter. There should probably also be a limit on this, but it really doesn't matter. Limits. Oh, that's another thing. I should probably explain that. If right now the chest isn't limited, and 200 bullets will fit in one of these slots. So if I don't limit this chest, this guy will run all day long and just fill this guy with bullets, which really isn't a bad thing, to be honest. You could almost never run out of bullets, but although with biters set to not attack us too much, that many bullets would probably be excessive. Belts, on the other hand, only stack to 100. So this will allow me to have 400 belts. And then as soon as this fills up, it's as if the chest was only this big, which is nice. So that way I don't use up a bunch of resources making belts when I probably don't need them. Anyway, moving on. So the bus, as I call it. The way a bus works is you lay out some machines, and you take your belts, and what you do here, actually, I'll show you that in a minute too. You have your belts running like this, and what you want to do is you want to send resources in this way, and then the machines make things, and then send the resources out here, either onto belts down here, or into boxes, depending on if those are intermediate resources or if they're going. And you can up here on the very simple bus I'm making right here, you can go this far because you can take one of these guys, and you can put him here, and he'll grab off of this belt to put into here, or you can put him here, and I'll show you a way around that in a little bit. The fact that he's blocking this lane, but he can grab this. But there's a ways around that. Right now, if you really wanted to, you could do something like this and place these belts down, and it will run around, and it would allow me to. I'm going to use a ghost here just to show you. It would allow me to put that there, and now this belt runs, and then that goes there. However, I think it's time for us to. I'm just going to leave those here. It's time for us to do some more research. And the research we're going to do is logistics. This gives us an underground belt, which will also help us a lot. And it also is going to give us a splitter, which is a great thing. So I need to actually start that research. I forgot. There we go. And it takes logistics research. So it's, whatever these are called, automation research. So it's chugging along. It takes 15 seconds to make one, and I think what is it? Needs 20 total. So he'll get his job done eventually. Take more of this, and this guy is out of fuel, so let's go ahead and give him some fuel. And okay, we need to start belting things. So we need lots of arms. So I'm just going to make 5 for now. We need a lot, so I'm going to make 5. And the way these things work is we when we have them here, what we can do is we can take these arms and put them like here, 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 and here, and here. Now these guys are a little bit harder because they're inside the thing, but I think I'm just going to leave them as they are right now. And then these guys, what we can do is we can run belts, and this is not very efficient, but it gets the job done for now. We can run these guys like this, and now they need power, so we're going to have to make more power poles. And we have to make sure our little power circle goes over the guy, so I'm going to put the power pole here, I'm going to put another one here, and then I'm going to put another one here, and then those will cover all those guys. Then we have to bring the power up here. Ah, there we go. And then like that. And now these guys are all pulling iron plates out of these belts, or out of the smelters, and putting them on the belts. So now I can run this belt up like this, and I'm going to want to put it here. So I think, again, I'm click dragging this. Oops, and I've run out of belts. This is why you need a lot of belts in the game. Sorry about that. If you did notice, I did an edit there. If you didn't notice, then I apparently succeeded in stealth editing out the cut, but a little bit of cat wanted out of the room, so I had to take care of that. But there we go. We now have a belt of iron going up, and right now there's more iron on one side of the belt than the other. That really doesn't matter. I just wanted to run these belts up so that they get the iron going, get the iron flowing, as they say. So what I want to do here is I want to make some what do you call intermediate products. I want to make some iron gear wheels, and I want to make some electronic circuits. And I want to take those off of here to make them, and then put the actual stuff down here. And then I'm going to run them all this way, and then I'm going to make the actual good stuff a little bit farther down the line. So I'm going to start with gears, and I think I'm going to make 2 things of gears. And then I'm going to make electronic circuits. And here's the trick. Electronic circuits need copper cable. And then we have to make copper cable in another recipe. And electronic circuits take 3 copper cables. And copper cables, it makes 2 here, and it's a ratio that you'll have to worry about later. But for right now, we need more of these things. Let's go ahead and make like 5 or 6 more of these things, because we're going to need a lot of them. Copper cables, we need more of those than we do electronic circuits, because if we're not making if we're only making 1 thing of copper cables into 1 thing of circuits, the circuits won't make fast enough. 2 is too many, but 1 is not enough, and I'd rather have too many than not enough of the intermediate products being made. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make copper cables here and here, and then we're going to make electronic circuits here, and then we're going to feed... I don't have any... I'm always out of something. Make a bunch of inserters. When the time comes, I'm going to put inserters to run these copper cables into these guys. And then these guys are just going to feed onto the belt. The electronic circuits are going to feed onto the belt, and then they're going to go down here, and we're going to actually make real stuff over this way. Looks like we're out of iron here, which is a little annoying. I'm holding down the letter F. If you hold down the letter F, then anything on the ground or on a belt that you run by gets put right into your inventory, which is nice. So I'm picking all this stuff up off the belt. I'm also going to go down here and, we need more copper, or need more coal. There we go. We can take out of these guys, because these guys aren't feeding onto the belt. These guys are going automatically, and obviously we're going to fix that when the time comes. But then let's go ahead and put more iron into there. You can never have too much iron at the beginning of the game. It's what you're always running out of. So what we're going to do here is, when the time comes, we're gonna put these guys into here. This is going to feed out onto here, and it's also going to need to pull in iron from here, because if you look at the recipe, it needs iron and copper cables. Copper cables, of course, need copper plate, so for those we're going to need long-handed inserters, and for that we need an inserter and some iron. So, did I mention you always need iron at the beginning of the game? We're going to need 2 long-handed inserters to get that done, because I'm going to be putting copper on this line here. And actually I'm sorry, did I say copper? I'm dumb. I did this wrong. Let's put those down. Let's get them back out of my inventory here. I'm going to be putting copper into these guys. Copper's going on this line. And you don't actually need copper for anything in the beginning of the game except copper wires for these. And also you need copper for the science, but we'll deal with that later. So what I can do now is I can come down here and put coal into this guy. And then I ran this line at the worst possible place, I just noticed. Can I get a belt in here? I can. Let's go ahead and run this guy up like this instead. And then I have to do this to get power back to these guys. Don't ever be afraid to reroute your belts. The whole name of the game with Factorio is redoing things to make sure that they work correctly. We're having a problem now. Tell me if you notice what it is. I want copper to go from here to here, and the iron is here. And we don't have any ways. This logistics thing that I'm researching doesn't actually work yet. I'm going to be really lame about it right now and just do this. This will take the copper off of this belt and put it onto that belt when the time comes. These guys here need to do this, and they need to be powered. So now they're running like that. Let's get some coal into him, get some coal into these guys, and take iron out of these guys. And we're good to go. We need more arms, inserters, and we also need to power all this stuff. I think I'm just going to throw power poles in between these guys. Really doesn't matter that much as long as they have power. Which, of course, they don't because the cables didn't stretch, but now they do. And now we're actually making these things, which is nice. And this guy needs a power pole as well. These guys need to feed in and need to feed out. And then now we have another problem. We're feeding out copper, what do we call him? Oh, he also needs iron. And I'm out of belt. Oh, we have our research done, which is nice. That means I can fix this stupidity that I've done here. We need iron as well. Here's the problem. These guys' arms always drop items on the far side of the belt. Here, he can't drop things on the far side of the belt because there's already gears there. And I wouldn't even want that anyway because I want these things to stay separated. You can use both sides of the belt for different things, which I'm going to do here, but you can't do it this way because these arms will only put things on the far side of the belt. So what we want to do is we want to get the gears on the near side of the belt instead of the far side of the belt. And the way you do that is you rotate. I just hit the letter R. That rotates this thing under my cursor. And then you can also hit R to rotate things here. And with things like assemblers and things like that, it doesn't really matter which way they're rotated, but I rotated all these as well. But then if we route it this way and then we do that, now it's going to drop them on this side of the belt. Now I need to keep this here so that this is a straight section belt, because if I delete this, it just turns into a twisty-turny belt. So I need this here, and then if I pick up these things with holding down the letter F again, now we have a belt that has 2 items on it. That's nice, because we don't need a lot of these things. We just need some of them, and that'll give us belt room for other intermediate products down the line in the future. So we can run this down. The copper doesn't need to go any further than this. We don't need any more copper than we already have. And actually, that isn't necessary either. So now, what do we need? We need all the important products here. We're going to need belts. We're going to need these other kinds of belts. We're going to need both of these kinds of inserters. We don't need to automatically make burner inserters. We don't use very many of them. We're going to want pipes and underground pipes. They don't really probably need to go on the bus. Pipes maybe, but not underground pipes. Underground pipes aren't in any other recipes. Pipes are. If you look here, like steam engines, they need pipes. Boilers need pipes. The pump needs pipes. I'm not going to automate making those, right, at least not yet. But other things do too. I just happen to know that. So first off, though, I think the best first thing to make is going to be our inserters. And I'm going to do this slightly special here. I'm going to, actually I can just do this. I'm going to put a power pole here and here, because we need both sides of this to have things. What we're going to do here is we're going to make this guy make inserters. And inserters need iron plates, iron gears, and electronic circuits. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to put an inserter here, and they grab whatever they need. So he's going to grab both of these things and put them in here in order to make these guys. Very convenient that it does that. Then I'm going to make long-handed inserters in this side. And the long-handed inserters need plate, gear wheels, and an inserter. So I can take the inserter out of him, which I'm actually going to take the inserters out of him physically. You can do that in a machine. You can pick up the things that are just sitting here in the completed item. You could actually, if you wanted to, you can take them out of here too. I've done that sometimes. But anyway, so you want to take one and put it in here. Now he's putting the inserter into here. He's putting the iron plates into here, and then we need gear wheels. So he's putting the gear wheels into there, and now we're making both of these things automatically, which is nice. We don't have to make them ourselves anymore. And as we do with everything else, we're going to put them in a box. And I like to put everything in a box with a long-handed inserter. Just boom and boom. And then these things go in a box. Now, the long-handed inserters, we probably don't need more than 2 stacks. And the regulars, let's make 4 stacks. These stack to 50, by the way. So now we're making our inserters. I'm going to leave a little bit of space because I happen to know that we're going to need more inserters being made. Not immediately, but in the future. So I'm actually going to make 3. I don't think we're going to, by the time we need different kinds of inserters more than that, we're probably going to be moving on to our main base. But I'm just leaving room just in case I do. One nice thing about Factorio is the entire world is your canvas, and you can build as far as you want, as long as you want, forever, until the biters get you. So we're not hurting for room, is the point I'm trying to get across here. So let's go ahead and run some power poles. And speaking of power poles, we should probably check and see how we're doing on power. We're getting pretty close to using up all our power. Obviously it's jumping all over the place, but it's maxing out. It's maxing out at what's that, 800, 900 almost. So this is getting to the point where we might want to think about doubling, tripling, even quadrupling our power. So I think we're going to double it for now, and that's pretty easy to do right now. All we need is another steam engine. And as soon as we put that steam engine down, we've now doubled our power. And you see here now we're using less than half. I'm going to let it sit at that for the time being. One thing, one convenient idea is every time you upgrade your power, double it. So right now that's pretty easy. In the future it's going to get a little bit harder. Okay, the next thing we want to do is make belts. Belts are probably, other than inserters, belts are what actually probably not even other than inserters. Belts are things you make the most of in the game. So we're going to want belts, and I'm going to set this up specially too. Need more of these. Always need more of something in this game. Okay, so as we learned in the other thing over here, regular belts, I can't touch it, but I guess I can do it over here. Regular belts take an iron plate and an iron gear wheel, so they're pretty simple. And we're going to do it here. So let's actually run these across. We're going to do kind of what we did last time, like that. We're going to make our regular belts here. The reason I'm going to make my regular belts here is if we make underground belts here, notice they take transport belts. And splitters also take transport belts. So what I can do here is I can run my belts this way and this way so that they feed into these things in order to run them. Now, like I said, he needs iron and gears. So we're going to do that. So there's gears and there's iron. He needs iron and transport belts. So there's his iron. And he needs iron, electronic circuits, and transport belts. And I need more inserters. So let's head over here and grab these out of this box here. There we go. And what did I say? I need an inserter here. So there's those. And then, like before, we want these things to go in boxes, which we need more wood for, which is a little annoying, but let's go down here and chop a couple trees down. There we go. Just making all the boxes I can. We're going to want a box here, and a box here. And we're going to want long-handed inserters. putting into those boxes like this. And like before, we're going to limit this to 4 and limit these guys to 2 because you use regular transport belts far off and then you use the other ones. Now, we're running out of resources. It looks like we're running low on iron, possibly because we are not keeping coal in these guys. And it looks like we're good otherwise. Let's go ahead and take the iron out of these guys just so we have a store. And yeah, we're still doing good. All these are running. It's just we're using more iron than we're mining right now. So we're going to have to upgrade mining. But anyway, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for now. And now also, I don't need this anymore. I don't need to make belts over here because I'm making them over there. And I also need to put iron in here so that we keep things going. But that's it. Oh, one other thing I can do here is now that we're making these belts, these underground belts, let me take them out of here, is we can fix this ridiculous problem here. Instead of using an arm to put these here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an underground belt under here and over here, and then I'm going to run this belt here. Now the iron plates are going underground so that we can route it around. That's a massive tool here. Also, if you notice, all of the whatever this is called, the copper plates are going on the same side of the belt. It's not a big deal because we're never going to use enough copper for it to matter in this beginning phase. But you can fix that if you want something on both sides of the belt so that you get twice the throughput. You can do something like this. The splitter, what it does is everything that comes in, half of it goes one way, half of it goes the other way. Unless it's backed up, then it all goes the other way. And what it's doing now is it's sending one item this way, if it can, and then the other item on this side, so that they're going to come around here and eventually fill up the entire belt. So that's a nice way to do that. I can also do that with the iron, but iron is basically balanced already. It's half of it's coming from one side, half of it's coming from the other side, so I'm not too worried about it. And that's the kind of things that you worry about later, as the case may be. So, I think we're at a good place to stop. We're actually a lot farther than I thought I would get, and probably that means the episode's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But I cut it in the middle, so I can't actually tell how long I've been talking. But next time, I hope to up my iron production a lot and start actually splitting mining from smelting, so that I can have a like mine this entire thing and then run it over to some smelters and then send the entire output up into this thing. And I would also like to continue the bus along, and also maybe go and fight these guys with my shotgun, because eventually my pollution cloud's going to reach them, and that would be a bad thing. Another thing I forgot to mention in the last episode is in addition to showing around itself, the radar also slowly works around like this. And notice it showed what was in this square, and now I can't see it anymore. And then it's going to show what's in this square as time goes on here. I don't actually know the timings. I don't know how long it takes to show a new square, but it's gonna run around, and once it fills out the entire area, it's gonna start again. So like these areas here that I can see, I can't actually see what's in them if I zoom in like I can here. But I can see what... Oh, there. Now I can see this is current because the radar just scanned this area. But it will show a decent bit about itself. It's not going to go forever, but it is nice. It lets you see beyond your borders, kind of. And so I know now that my nearest neighbor is these guys. So when I go after somebody with a shotgun, that's who I'm going to go after. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'm in map mode. I do that all the time. I zoom in on map mode, and then I think I'm running around, and I try to do something. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this. I definitely enjoyed playing it. Leave your comments in the comments below if you are curious about anything. If you think I missed anything, I'm sure I did. But I'm Superfluous J, and I will, as always, talk at you later.